My 31 female, younger cousin, 28 female, recently found out she is pregnant. She's really excited, but she found out she's having triplets. The dad, 45 male, is a real piece of work and won't be in the picture and can't make other financial support. She doesn't make very much money and she has no savings. I myself have 2 kids, and even with the financial and emotional support of my partner, it can be very stressful. Over the past few weeks, I've gently tried to tell her that it may not be green pastures ahead. She doesn't even have a functional car right now. It's like her head is stuck in the sand, and she's only talking about how amazing it will be, how blessed she is, how it's a miracle, how she'll just figure it out. On Christmas Eve, she surprised the rest of the family with the news after doing a big surprise scavenger hunt that led to 3 onesies. Her mom already knew, but her grandparents, cousins, aunts, uncles, etc. She didn't get the reaction she was hoping for. Some people told her she should consider her options, like adoption or A, even though some are very conservative and pro-life. Some talked to her about how hard this will be, asked about how she will afford this, wanted to know what support the dad would be giving, etc. It was not very celebratory. I could tell she was upset and she left early. I went to talk to her this morning in her studio apartment. I told her I was very sorry for everyone's reaction, but that I could see where the family was coming from and that they just wanted the best for her and were concerned. I asked her what she expected the reaction to be, and she told me that she thought everyone would rally together to help her now and to offer a bunch of help once the babies arrive. She expected financial support too. I told her that she can't rely on others like that and that she will likely have to figure a lot of this out on her own if she goes through with it. She told me that I'm horrible, that our family is terrible, and that we all deserve each other, and that unless she gets our support, she'll cut us all out. Then she told me to leave. In some ways, I think it's a reality check, but the more I think about it, I also know how overwhelming it is to be pregnant, and I'm sorry that she didn't get any happy reactions or offers of support, especially because in the past, other family members have gotten very happy family reactions when sharing their pregnancies. Am I the a-hole for agreeing with the rest of our family? Everyone sucks here. Oh boy, was I torn on this one. If it was just how the family reacted and not what happened when you went over, yeah, the family and you are the a-holes. Even in the worst of circumstances, if someone is trying to share their joy with you, you don't kick them down, particularly a pregnant woman, as pregnancy hormones can pull one back and forth between dark and light places mentally. You be happy in the moment and then have a sit down to help her figure it out. But expecting family to help financially? Unless there has been help financially with other members of the family, that rides the line between a-holery and naivety. You're the a-hole, massive a-hole. It is not your place, nor anyone else's, to tell her what to do with her babies. You all should be supportive in whatever way you can. How dare you suggest A or adoption? I'd cut you all out too. Not the a-hole. She needed a head check that these are her babies, her responsibility, and no one else's. Not the a-hole. This poor girl is delusional and seems to make a lot of bad choices. The family members are being realistic and practical. They don't want to finance the girl's bad choices either. How incredibly sad for her. So I, 27 female, am an identical twin. Now there's this idea that twins, especially identical, have an automatic connection. Well, this is not true for us. Well, this is not true with us, mostly because we grew up in different homes. At 13, our parents split, and I chose to live with my dad. Well, she chose our mother. And in that choice, she took on my mother's "I'm better than everyone, and the world should bow down to me" attitude. This attitude is a huge reason I chose to live with my dad. My mother cared a lot about appearance and what people thought. And because I wasn't a perfect little girl, she was rather emotionally aggressive. Well, my sister was her perfect little girly girl, and pretty much her personality mini-me. I wasn't. First, I went through a punk, tomboy phase through middle school into high school, which I still somewhat incorporate into my style and personality today. My sister was also pretty popular throughout school. She had a lot of friends. Well, I had 3 friends, and was, I guess, what could be considered a nerd. After our parents split, I would spend every first weekend with my mother and my sister, and my sister spent every second weekend with me and my dad. I stopped going to my mother's house when I was 15. I had come out as bi and had started dating a girl from school. My mother accused me of just looking for attention. My mother wasn't homophobic in the sense she thought it was wrong, more in the sense she cared way too much about appearance and didn't want her kid to be gay or bi, as she felt it looked bad on her. This was back in 2010, so being part of the LGBT community wasn't near as accepted as it is now, and there was still a pretty big stigma behind it. My relationship with her became strained after that. My sister was also not happy, as she didn't want to be the bi chick sister, as she put it. Well, flash forward 7 years to when my sister and I was 22. My sister and her boyfriend were trying to have a baby, but they couldn't seem to get pregnant. After a year of trying, they found out she's not physically able to have kids. Well, I felt bad for her. I didn't think much of it, as I thought there was nothing I could do to help. Turns out my sister and mother thought differently. We were all at my aunt's house for her birthday, and my sister and mother pulled me aside. Mother: so you know about your sister's doctor visit? Me: yeah, I'm so sorry. I know how much you wanted it. Mother: well, we actually figured a way she can have a baby. Me: is she going to adopt? Sister: no, we can't do that. It costs too much. Me: oh, then what's your plan? Mother: I remembered something I saw online a while back, so I looked it up, and since you two are twins, if you have the baby, she will be just as biologically related to it as if she had one herself. Me: wait, you want me to get pregnant and carry the baby? Mother: yes, it's a perfect situation. Me: that is not happening. Mother: OP, she is your sister, and you can help her. Stop being selfish. Me: I'm not being selfish. Getting pregnant is a big deal, and it will literally take 9 months of my life. I have a job. I also just started a new relationship with a guy, and getting pregnant would likely have made things awkward. And last but not least, I just didn't want to be pregnant. They started going in on me, on how I need to help my sister and trying to guilt me into it. I wasn't taking it, and made it clear it wasn't going to happen. I thought that was the end. But then a year later, despite all attempts to prevent it, I got pregnant. My boyfriend at the time, who I had only been dating a year, and I weren't sure what to do. We talked about it and all the options, but decided to go through with the pregnancy. I kept my pregnancy quiet for as long as I could, but once I started showing, I announced it online, which resulted in a call from Sister. Sister: so, you're pregnant? Me: yeah. Sister: what happened to not wanting kids? Me: accidents happen, I guess. Sister: so since you never wanted this kid, you could let us adopt it. Me: what? Sister: well, you always said you never wanted kids, and this one was an accident, so you should let us adopt it. Me: no, not happening. This is mine and boyfriend's baby. We're going to be raising it. Sister: but you said you didn't want kids. Me: I changed my mind. It happens. Sister: that's not fair. I hung up after that. I wasn't in any mood to fight. She then tried to get my mom to guilt me into giving her the baby. And despite my reminder that even if I didn't want the baby, I couldn't just give it to them, as boyfriend was the father and he had rights to the kid. They didn't seem to understand. Now, if you thought it ended there, nope. Well, when we went in for the checkup, I found out I was having twins, which in a way wasn't a surprise. Being a twin gave me a higher chance at having them. I took a while to come to terms with having one baby, so finding out I was having two was a huge shock. I was still pretty freaked out about having twins, but decided to announce it, which resulted in another call from my sister. Sister: you're having twins. Me: yeah, apparently. Ironic, right? Sister: so I can have one. Me: what? Sister: since you're having twins, I can have one. Me: no, you can't. Sister: why not? You have two. Me: yeah, I'm having two. They are my babies, and me and boyfriend will be raising both. Sister: but that's not fair. I hung up as, again, I wasn't going to fight her. But then my mother calls me up, and this is the conversation. Mother: your sister just called me crying. Me: okay. Mother: can't you just give her one of them? You know how much she wants a baby. Me: that is not my problem. These are my kids. She can always adopt. There are plenty of kids looking for homes. Mother: OP, why do you always have to be so difficult and selfish? You never even wanted these kids in the first place. Would it hurt you to give one to your sister? Me: this is ridiculous. She is not getting either of my babies. After some more attempts at guilt tripping, they finally stopped demanding I give them a baby. But that didn't stop them from overstepping with the kids on multiple occasions. Context: it has been a few years now, and the boys are about to turn 5. Over the last few years, I had to fight with my mother and sister about some weird and honestly disrespectful stuff they have done. Edited. Should have added this in the beginning. I have low to no contact with my sister and mother as of now. I live very far away from them. Our contact is purely social media, Facebook. No. Sister can't have a baby because she is still a baby herself. She needs to grow up. You were separated as children. I know you said that you were completely different, but I don't think it is normal to separate twins. Why do you still communicate with your mother and your twin sister? Based on your post, it's obvious they've gotten more toxic, and they are doing God knows what to your children. Your sons are older, but they are still vulnerable to your family's influence. Please make sure your boundaries are enforced, and keep an eye out for any strange behavior your children demonstrate. You said your mother and your sister haven't given up, and they won't. Protect yourself from any accidents, too. First thing you need to do is explain to your children how your sister wants one of them, as well as the false claims that you never wanted them. If they got to them first with this falsehood, they will turn them against you. In fact, don't allow them to spend one-on-one time with your mom and sister without your presence. Better safe than sorry. I hosted Christmas lunch today because the larger family dinner included almost 20 people, some of who are sick, and I have a 7-month-old in a part of the country where RSV is brutal right now. So lunch was just my mom, mother-in-law, and father-in-law, and my brother, who last minute invited his girlfriend. They've been together for a while, so I was fine with that, but his girlfriend also has a young son who I assumed would be coming. She ended up coming without her son, and then during lunch, my daughter got a little fussy. She calmed down right away, but my brother's girlfriend started lecturing us about how we needed to find a good daycare like hers that was open Christmas and holidays, so events didn't have to be focused around a baby. I was a bit baffled and just said we weren't planning on daycare, as I'd altered my career path with the intention of staying home, as did my husband. I thought things were over, but then a little while later, my daughter fell asleep and I got up to go put her in the nursery. I got halfway down the hall before remembering I needed the baby monitor, and on return, overheard my brother's girlfriend quietly saying to my brother and mother that it was a good thing my mom would have grandkids from her because my daughter would likely end up being slur for mentally handicapped people from not being socialized. My mother immediately said that was ridiculous and inappropriate, but by then I was already back in the room, and calmly, keeping in mind I'm still holding a baby at this point, told her she was no longer welcome in my home and I expect her gone when I get back. I ran into my in-laws and husband in the hall as they were in the kitchen getting the food ready to serve, and told my husband I wanted her out and would explain later. My husband, in-laws, and mother were all on my side. My brother stayed neutral, saying he didn't approve of what she said, but that as she's been a mother longer than me, maybe she knows more. Unfortunately, she and my brother went to the big family dinner and told everyone, and I got a few messages about how it was out of line and grinchy to throw her out over her comment, as sometimes family disagrees. Am I the a-hole? Not the a-hole. This is way different than simply disagreeing. This is her going out of her way to be ducking rude about something she had no reason to comment on. Also, she's a crap parent. Who leaves their kid in daycare over the holidays, just so they, the parent, can have fun? People who don't care about being a parent, that's who. So she's in your house, eating your food with your family, and slamming you, the host? What I don't understand is why you were the only one asking her to leave. On top of that, she left her kid in daycare on Christmas? She's not exactly a barometer on good parenting. Please kiss your baby and know you've done right by them this holiday season. Not the a-hole. Not the a-hole at all. How dare she say such a thing? It's rude, uncalled for, offensive, and completely wrong. Doesn't matter if she has been a mother longer. That is zero excuse. And for crying out loud, your child is only 7 months old. There's plenty of time for your child to socialize. The family calling you an a-hole are also a-holes themselves. I wish I didn't have to ask him to move out. I enjoy having him close to me and would love it if all my kids could be together under the same roof. But my husband and I only have a 3-bedroom house, with one of those belonging to my daughter, a minor, and one to us. That only leaves my son's room for a nursery. I had considered using our room as a temporary nursery for up to a year after the baby is born, which would give him more than enough time until he has to move. But I think that would make things extremely cramped and uncomfortable for us all. We do have an unfinished basement, but he doesn't want to move down there, and I don't blame him. It's not really livable and wouldn't be comfortable. That brings me to the conflict. I had discussed this over and over with my husband and a few close family members and friends, since I felt guilty about asking him to move out and wasn't sure if I was doing the right thing. But everyone I talked to said that it wouldn't be wrong of me to ask him to move out because he has a good job and can afford to pay rent somewhere. Plus, he isn't saving for a house right now, so staying with us rent-free isn't helping him achieve any of his goals. It may also be good for him to have a place for himself since he's 24 and has never lived on his own. I still felt terrible about asking him to move out, so my husband and I agreed to give him until the baby is born, plus a grace period of a month or so after to move. That's at least 6 months. We also agreed to pay for movers and moving supplies, plus his deposits and first month's rent to help make this easier on him. If he needs more help beyond this, like with furniture or other things he might need for his apartment, we're willing to provide it. When I brought this up to my son, he was not happy. He was certainly disappointed that I'd asked him to move out, but he seemed more hurt than anything because he feels like I don't care about him as much anymore. His view is that I value the baby more than him because I won't find a way to make things work so he can stay in our home. He says that I am a bad mother for abandoning him and treating him like garbage to be thrown out. He's normally not like this and level-headed, so his reaction has me wondering if I'm acting like an a-hole by asking him to move out. My brother also has called me up to tell me I'm an a-hole and that I'm turning out to be as bad as our mother. So their reactions have me here asking if I'm the a-hole for asking my son to move out so I can turn his room into a nursery. Not the a-hole. No offense, OP, but it sounds like your son is a bit coddled. He's saying that he needs more attention from you than a baby. He's 24. He should understand that you'll need to dedicate time to this new child, and it's a bit immature that he's trying to compare himself to a newborn or throw this at you as a way to hurt you. He says that I am a bad mother for abandoning him and treating him like garbage to be thrown out. Abandoning him? You're literally offering to buy him furniture, cover his moving expenses, and you're giving him 6 months to find a new place. He needs to chill. Do you think maybe he's always been so level-headed because you've given him everything he wants? Time to kick this bird out of the nest. Not the a-hole. Your son is 24. He has 6 months, got your financial help to move out, got a good job, and yet he still is under your roof, rent-free. I thought at first your son was like 18 or 19, but 24? He sounds a bit entitled for me, not seeing how this grown man calls you a bad mother while he lives rent-free, while making money, just because you give him a generous offer of moving out. He should also see he can care for himself now, having a job and being 24, yet he's angry because you need to make room for a baby who needs a lot of attention. Definitely not the a-hole. Your son sounds kind of like one. No a-holes. You don't actually need a nursery. People do just fine without them. But the reality is that you want him out because he's an adult, and you want the space for your new family. That's what hurts him, not the fact that you think it's time for him to leave the nest. You're allowed to ask him to get his own place, but it seems like he has felt like he's been an afterthought for a long time. Like the fact that you let him stay was the only thing that made him feel like he was part of this family. You should start family therapy because it's important that he feels like he has a family that wants him no matter where he goes. The best time to take care of this would have been his whole life. The second best time is now.